Hey, hey.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, what's up? What's going on, man?
Hey, buddy. You're Zach, huh?
Yeah, Sonny, what's going on, dude? How you doing?
Just hanging in there, man. Doing good. Bobby will be joining us momentarily.
I'm here.
There he is.
There we go.
The man, the enigma.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So, fuck yeah, man. So the last time that we talked, it was back during the pandemic when you guys were releasing the first record. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was badass, man. So now that things have opened up quite a bit, and I know there's a lot of things that have happened since. Can you tell us how did you guys go from that last record to this one, and what's been going on?
It was a long way. We started recording and laying down the tracks, and I think the thing that took the most time was getting the mixes the way we wanted them. We had the luxury of working on mixes over and over for a long time, and typically with us, we'll get like anywhere from 15 to 20 versions of a mix until we're actually satisfied with it. And the fact that we were set on the producer that we used for the first album, the engineer, he had other clients, and so in between we did our stuff, and it took a while, but there was a method to the madness, because we were determined to get it to sound precisely how we wanted it to sound, and that was our goal. So we spent a lot of time achieving that, and we just like the first album, we didn't like sit down and make a schedule. Like we didn't say, okay, we'll have 3 fast ones and then a pretty one, and we just did what we do, and kind of organically just recorded and did what we do. And the only thing I can say that we did that was premeditated was after the Limit first album came out, the Caveman Logic, I was telling Bobby, we got to like really work in a way to make the second album better. And Bobby was going, Sonny, historically, a lot of bands, the first album is really good and second album can be good, but after a while it can go downhill. I don't know if we can top Caveman Logic. And I just said, let's really try. And so, without, sitting there, I'm trying to top it. We just had the attitude of getting to the core, getting to the real, and nailing it. And this time I think we did. I was very pleased when Bobby said he likes the new album, Another Drop, even better.
Hell yeah, man.
It was, it's got some really good song material on it. Really good songwriting I'm proud of.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, man. I just got done blasting a little bit ago, Part 2, Screw You. And I love the title of that too, by the way, man. That's cool.
Thanks. It was supposed to be a working title, and I'm usually not the lazy type. I will go, late at night working on stuff and paying attention to certain details, but that was just a working title. And a lot of times I do get lazy and just keep the working title as the title. I've got one song called like Dead Monkey on a Stick, and another one called Ready to Fuck, and it's like, those were working titles, kind of tongue in cheek, and they wound up sticking.
Yeah, I think sometimes stuff like that just sticks, though. It's like, why try to think too hard on it? I mean, it's already there. It works. Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it.
Oh yeah. So you guys have released 2 singles so far. You did Part 2, Screw You, and of course the title track. Anything else you guys have coming out in the pipeline?
Yeah, we're in the process of choosing a third song, and this on the third song, the label has sort of we did like a talk, and they're going to support the making of this video. The first two we kind of did independently and gave to the label, but I wanted to really have a chance to work with a I don't know, with someone that's a bit more creative. I'm a little bit not interested in a video where it shows a guy playing guitar and then it shows a guy playing drums, and something a little bit more creative, but still with some impact to support the music. And so that's kind of our goal this time, to have something a little bit more with some depth that is within the filmmaking.
Oh yeah, man. Definitely looking forward to
it. Maybe a little more concept, like a concept video, perhaps.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, the two videos that you guys already released, I thought they were pretty cool, man.
Yeah, those were fun. Those are cool. Yeah, a lot of people like the part. Did you see the part at the end of part 2, Screw You, where Bobby's singing and then I put like a cape on him and try to guide him away from the microphone, like as if, you've given too much. It's
the James Brown takeoff thing. Yeah,
it's like a thing that James Brown used to do as a shtick at it, during his shows, and I kind of reprised that, and I really love it when people say, "Oh, I dig that James Brown thing you guys did. It was so much fun."
Yeah,
that's cool as hell, man.
Yeah.
So tell us, can you tell us about this album artwork that you guys have for this new record?
The what? Sorry.
The album artwork for the new record.
Oh yeah, we were searching around for an artist to design the cover, and we really didn't want to use AI artwork. Not that there's anything drastically wrong with it or anything, but just I think it's we're in a transition where some people are very allergic to AI and some people think it's a cool creative tool. And the transition we're in is much like remember when CDs came out and guys were going, "I'll never listen to one of those things. It's all zeros and ones and digital," and then they wound up with collections of CDs. And then, of course, when cell phones came out, how many freaking grandpas were going, "I'll never have one of those god dang things clipped onto my head, you idiots walking down the street." And those guys are now holding their phone like, 6 feet away from their eyes and trying to see it, and they're on their damn phones, So I think the AI is that way. It's going through some transition for acceptability, and as it develops, people are like, what's happening now is people look at it and say, "Wait a second, that's fake. Look at the fingers. No fingers are that long." It's like, but once people realize, like, yeah, it is fake, but what could be creative in it, So I still like, organic creativity in filmmaking and in everything.
Yeah, I do too, but I think AI is becoming actually a form of imposed upon people, because it's becoming a total necessity, even on your telephones and so forth. You're not able to do a lot of things unless you calmly, hopefully, feed into the AI concepts and the methodology of using it,
Yeah. It's for artwork, I'm not really thrilled with it at the moment, but
right.
It's got a lot of useful aspects to it. So, but yeah, one of the things was that because it's in transition and because there is a certain amount of people that look at an artwork, sometimes they look at an original artwork and go, "That's AI," and it's not, so that's
right.
kind of a danger zone. But I wanted to make sure that we don't trigger anybody and have people go to mental wards because, "Oh my God, the album cover is AI." So it's not AI. And the front cover is actually a collage that someone that I met made. And so we use that for the front. And there's other aspects to the cover that are not, they're not AI. So, and we the cool thing about it is it's got to have a consensus. Like if we use an artwork, both myself and Bobby, and in a peripheral way, the other people involved have to like it, so it's not like just one person liking it. So we get like a consensus, and everybody loved this first artwork, and so that's what flew.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's really cool. I'm just looking at it right now. It's really it's trippy, man. Like
Yeah,
it kind of reminds me of like old school Pink Floyd type stuff, man, from the
I like that
70s.
trippy kind of tunnel, like of the reality feeling of the artwork.
Oh yeah, man. So do you guys have any plans to take this on the road and play live? Any live shows or anything?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, coming up. We're on the roster for the main stage at the Wacken Festival coming up on August 1st. So we're pretty psyched about that.
Hell yeah. I bet that'll be amazing, man.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And
that's a lot of people. I hope I don't pee in my pants.
I hope I do pee in my pants. It's got to be that exciting, I drank too much Pepsi. I'm peeing my pants. But yeah, we're also excited because we did a show, an impromptu show in Portugal during our recording of the first album, and but we've never played a show with Dee, and we've never played a show with Alex, so we're looking forward to this show.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Are there any other shows that you guys have that been announced or not announced yet?
There's a warm-up show the day before the Wacken Festival in a town nearby, and then there's supposed to be a limit tour sometime coming up, but we don't know what month. It just they're going to choose the best months for us to tour, and we're going to do a actual more intensive touring schedule coming up at some point.
Nice. So the album drops in next month, July 31st, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna have the full thing, like gonna be vinyl and CD and everything.
Yeah, it's gonna come out on vinyl and CD. Actually, the first test pressing that they made, I rejected, and I listened to it on a couple of home turntables, home stereo systems, and then I listened to it on some kind of more upper scaled turntable systems. And then the last version I listened to was on one of these Macintosh systems. I think was like about I don't know, like, I'm not exaggerating, like a $40,000 turntable and speaker and power amp system that they install in the Hollywood Hills, in people's rich homes. And I got to listen to the test pressing on that because I wanted to make sure that if I was going to reject it, I was not like listening on a defective unit or something. I wanted to really know what was going on. So I rejected it, and they had to redo it. And it just kind of shows that, the commitment of the label and us to providing, the best kind of core sound that we were already going for. I mean, it was kind of on the wire, like they were going, oh no, you're going to reject the test pressing, but we have a release date, that's going to be tough, but we did it over again. So looking forward to having that sound get out there.
Hell yeah. After they redid it, did you listen to it on that same system?
No. Okay. Now you've opened up Pandora's box, because it's very, I don't know. I'm almost afraid to say this because it's not really in the, I don't know how to describe this. What happened was they really needed to keep to a release schedule, and I really needed to reject the test pressing. So after talking with the label back and forth over and over, we made a decision to get it remastered at the best place in London, with the best people there. And there was, the staff there is known for working on albums that we all love. And I spoke to the guy in London, and I'm in Los Angeles. So basically, I'm speaking to a guy at, 4 a.m. my time, 5 a.m. my time. And I spoke to him at length over the course of a week, because what I had to do was I had to speak to him about the faults with the first test pressing in relationship to what we wanted. And he had to somehow display to me, through his experience and his knowledge, that he knew what I'm talking about. And so he did the remaster of the cut and sent it direct to the factory. So there is a little bit of apprehension on when the album gets pressed and we hear it. It dang well should sound better than the first pressing, because if it's worse, then we're going to just, cry all week long,
No, I'm sure it'll sound great, man. I mean, I obviously I haven't heard it yet, but I've, from what I've heard, just the mixes that are streaming on YouTube. I mean, that sounds great, man. And that's YouTube. So I know it's compressed on there and everything, but
yeah,
it sounds great.
I think what he did was, like, I had the vinyl version in my computer, and I had the CD version, and the CD version was great, but because of the way that factories work nowadays, it's kind of a technical thing, which musicians listening will appreciate, that mastering for vinyl is completely different from mastering for CD, and everyone along the chain is playing it safe. And what happens is, if the person who makes the initial master plays it safe and says, okay, we got to be careful, because the bass will become muddy on vinyl if we keep it to this kind of volume. So if the mastering dude keeps it safe, and if the cutting mastering guy keeps it safe, and if at the factory they put elliptical limiters on it, and everybody plays it safe, you wind up with an album that sounds crummy. The needle's not going to pop off. There's not going to be distortion from the bass or something. But I wanted them to bring it, to the line, to keep it safe, but push it to the maximum of the juiciness of the tones. And so that's what he assured me. He said he's going to get it as close to the CD sound as humanly possible, and that gave me confidence.
Yeah, it's funny that you were mentioning that. It was making me think, that works backwards too. Like, there's I've heard bands before, or releases before, where they've used they used like the vinyl mix, and they put that on the CD, and it sounded horrible on the CD, but it sounded great on the vinyl.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely like two totally different things, for sure.
Yeah, it's a balance. Back in the 60s and the 70s, where there were albums that we all know and love, there were like 3 guys in the world who were doing all the mastering, or the master for cutting of those albums. And now everyone with software thinks they can do it, but they just don't have the ears often,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got some old records like Led Zeppelin and stuff like that, original pressings, and they still sound amazing to this day. Those records are older than I am, man.
Yeah, man. Like a lot of times when I'm in a sound check, and I feel like my guitar's not coming through loud enough, just for the benefit of the sound man and to reactivate his logic system, I will play a Hendrix song or a Led Zeppelin song, and if my guitar isn't loud enough, he'll have to notice it, because on those albums the guitar is just free. It's just very loud, and so I will do a song like that at a sound check to demonstrate how the balance should be.
Hell yeah! Speaking of guitars, can you tell us what kind of gear and stuff you guys were using on this record to get those tones?
On this record, I used a 1969 Gibson Les Paul Black Beauty, and I used a couple of other guitars that were in the studio, other kind of Gibsons, and actually one was a Guild, And I'm not sure what kind of guitar D uses. He switches around a lot. So, but D gets a great tone. And yeah, I've got my trusty Les Paul that I used.
What about amps and stuff?
I used Vox amps, Vox AC30s, but I used 3 of them, and they were all kind of Y-corded together with different sounds and stuff. And so basically, they recorded 3 amps at once, and I could choose which one wound up with the best tones.
Nice. What about you, Bobby? Do you have a special microphone that you use?
No, not really. I just I go with what the studio puts in front of me, and if I notice too much brilliance on it, I might change to a different one. Occasionally, I use a bass drum mic, but it depends on the expense and the quality of the microphone in particular. I've used many different kinds of studio. It depends on the studio size too, the ambiance and stuff.
Hell yeah! All right. Well, so as far as this record is concerned, can you tell us like some of the themes and stuff that you guys are talking about in some of these songs?
Yeah, Bobby. What are some of the themes? I know them, but you wrote them, so you can talk about that.
Well, it kind of went from everything from what I would call idiot rock to complexity of a sort. There's for instance, there's a song called "Don't Say Try," because as a lot of us in the human race know, the word "try" kind of is a non-existent in some sort of fashion, because you either do something or you don't do it. So trying doesn't really exist sometimes. That's one of the songs, and a hint on different things that you can do or not do. There's a lot of songs that give parallels between what I'm saying and something that's similar. There's one song, for instance, called "Tryptophan," and it refers to your love. Leaves me like tryptophan, because it's satisfying. Tryptophan is the thing in Turkey that puts us to sleep and calms us down. For instance, there's let's see. Oh, one is just a story about the band. Actually, it's called "Just a Calling Card." That's really self-explanatory. It talks about the band in the inside. I try to work hard. I play on a team. Something I fell off the balance beam. Kind of like that, describing what we do. And let's see what else. I don't. Oh, and one that's one of my very favorites is called "Fall Down, Get Up," because that's what I'm about in life. My nickname is sort of known to some people as "a little engine that could," because I'm very persistent at stuff and I don't give up. I'm not a quitter, no matter what. Seems like at almost any expense. As in many vices that people have, if you fall down, as in my case, if I fall down, I get up and just keep on stroking and stuff, and hopefully you'll accomplish it. And
yeah, the thing about, asking the writer, the artist about their work, sometimes it's hard to center yourself within the work when you're describing it. Like Bobby.
Exactly. Yeah. Because people will perceive it maybe as a total different meaning as you.
Yeah.
And Bobby does not describe it in a way that the song itself communicates. It really is a deep song about someone who does have experiences in life that tear them down to the very core and have them laying on the street and just kind of desolate, and how they pick themselves up and survive, and it's very profound. It's got a lot of feeling in it. And just talking about, the dynamics of the lyrics doesn't really give it justice. But when people buy this album and they listen to the song Fall Down, Get Up, they're gonna have a riveting kind of experience of like visceral life experience that everybody can connect to. And it's a very deep song with a kind of a dreamy, dark kind of a vamp song in it. Yeah.
Man, I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, I can't even believe we came up with that, man. It's just thinking about it puts me in a kind of a ethereal mood. It's you got to hear that, man.
Hell yeah. Well, as far as you guys' live shows coming up, are you guys going to be focused 100% on the limit, or will you be throwing in tracks from your other projects that you're in, or?
We're gonna play Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, Smoke on the Water,
Gloria.
No, we're gonna only do the limit. We got 2 albums, 2 albums to choose the best songs from to play live, and so we're gonna just push them limit songs and
to the limit. Yeah,
to the limit.
Nice. What about your other bands? Do you guys are you any plans coming out in the future for Pentagram or anything like that?
Yeah, Pentagram are in between tour legs right now as we speak. I hit the road again in 5 days for the 3rd leg and final leg of our U.S. tour. We've been touring pretty damn extensively since the middle of April, and we'll finish up the U.S. tour before we go in the studio and record yet another new studio album, which is set to record in July. And then we head again to Mexico and South America in August. So, yeah, I've got a busy schedule this year, real busy.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I just finished a tour of Spain where it was 20 shows in 19 days. Very grueling schedule. So both Bobby and I are busy with, playing tours and playing shows. And it's kind of an interesting thing where, when you have like a separate kind of career and other bands and all this stuff, and people say, oh, your side project, The Limit, but it's kind of more than a side project. It's very dear to us, and it's got its own character and its own personality, and it is a representation of our collaboration and, our work together. And it's not really, what we would consider a side project. It's just
it's pretty serious business to us. It's got a lot of feeling, and a lot of our blood, sweat, and tears went into it. Yeah,
it's got its own. It's its own entity, and so we're looking forward to doing stuff with The Limit, and keep doing stuff with our other endeavors.
I'm looking forward to it, man. And it's second album, like you said. In my opinion, that is pretty serious. Once you move to the second album, and then the third, hopefully
the journey goes on.
Hell yeah,
the journey goes on.
That's right.
All right, guys. Well, I guess I'm about out of questions for you. Is there anything else you want to let the people know?
Yes.
Buy used cars from me.
There is something very important. If you guys can flash the address of the record company.
Yes.
Ask everybody involved to go into their purse or their wallet and gather as much of this stuff as they can get together and put it in an envelope pair of Silver Lining records for Bobby and Sonny. Okay, please ask them to do this, because we've got to pay our psychiatrist, we got to pay our sports junkie, like wagering website. Right. There's a lot of we could have 10 bands and never be able to afford the kind of luxuries that we're used to. So take this stuff, put it in a shoebox, and mail it to the record company, please.
That's right. Overnight FedEx on top of that, please. Don't forget that.
And also maybe another shoebox for this website, because they're allowing us to, actually
advertise your shoebox.
This is just fake money. It's just, I was doing an art project this morning, and this is being laid out on a board and lacquered and everything. It's just kind of like for an art project, but I thought
for now it'll do.
I don't know. I'm still kind of impressed with the fact that a lot of those rap videos were flashing money, and so like I'm thinking, well, if that makes you famous, here we go, baby, money, yo.
Yeah, there you go. Well, but we don't want people sending you guys fake money. Send them real money.
No, the real stuff. Yeah, that would be better.
That's right.
Right on.
All right. Well, before I let you guys go, can I get you to make us a station tag real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Bobby. Do it, baby.
Yes.
Whenever you're ready, say something like, "This is the limit," and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio.
Hi, this is Bobby Liebling from The Limit, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio.
Yes, indeed. This is Sonny. You're listening to Metal Devastation.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And
appreciate it, man. Very much.
All right, man.
Nice
to meet you
later.
You take care. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.